I ended my engagement at our party after my fiancée's friend said she had me as a backup plan. I need to write this out because I'm still processing what happened Friday night. My engagement ended in the weirdest, most public way possible, and I'm not sure if I handled it right or completely lost my mind. So, background first. I've been with Emma for almost 3 years, living together for 2. I should mention that the apartment is in my name only. When we moved in together, I was already on the lease and it just stayed that way. Never seemed important until now. We got engaged 8 months ago with this vintage ring we found at an estate sale for like $80. I know that sounds cheap, but it was kind of our thing. We both liked the idea of something with history, and we agreed we'd upgrade to something real when we were more financially stable. The ring meant something to us, but lately things have felt off. Emma's been spending more time with her friend group, Tara and Jen mainly, and there's been this vibe I couldn't quite name. Like she's been pulling away, but in this subtle way where if I brought it up, I'd sound paranoid. She'd make these comments sometimes about life being long or how you never know what'll happen that felt weird in the context of us planning a wedding. And this guy Ben, her college friend, has been around a lot more lately. So Friday we had this small engagement party at my place. About 20 people, nothing fancy, just friends and some family. Everything was going fine about 3 hours in. People were drinking, having fun, doing that thing where they roast the couple. Harmless stuff mostly. Then Tara, who was pretty drunk at this point, decided to take her turn. "You know what I love about Emma," she said, laughing. "She's always got a backup plan. Like if Max ever screws up, she's got Ben ready to tag in." The room went completely silent. Everyone just froze. I looked at Emma expecting her to be mortified to shut Tara down. But instead her face went red and she sort of laughed, this nervous, defensive laugh, and said, "I mean, can you blame me? It's 2025, you don't tie yourself to just one person anymore. You keep options, that's just being smart." The room somehow got even more silent. I heard someone whisper, "Oh my God." I just stood there trying to process what I just heard. Emma must have seen my face because her eyes went wide as she realized how that sounded. She immediately tried to backtrack. "Wait, no, that came out wrong. I didn't mean it like that, I just meant." But the damage was done. You can't unsay something like that. I looked at Ben and he'd gone completely pale, staring down at his beer, refusing to make eye contact with anyone. And something just clicked. All those little moments, all those weird vibes, they suddenly made perfect sense. The way Emma would get defensive when I asked about Ben, how she'd been distant but wouldn't talk about it. The life is long comments. She just admitted in front of everyone at our engagement party that she literally saw Ben as her backup plan. And she thought it was smart, reasonable, just good planning. Here's where I might have lost it, but honestly I felt weirdly calm. I excused myself, went to the bedroom and got the ring box from my dresser where I'd been keeping it. Emma wasn't wearing it because we were getting it resized. I walked back out to the living room straight up to Ben and just said, "Then tag in, bro." And I put the ring in his hand. The silence got even worse somehow. Emma started to say something, but I just raised my hand and said, "Party's over, everyone. Thanks for coming." My voice was steady. I wasn't yelling or crying or anything. I just wanted everyone gone. It took about 20 minutes for people to leave. Lots of awkward mumbling and side glances. Emma was trying to pull me aside, saying we needed to talk, that it was just a silly inside joke, that Tara was drunk and didn't mean anything. But I kept telling people goodbye and showing them to the door. After the last person left, Emma completely broke down. She was crying, saying I was overreacting, that I humiliated her in front of everyone. She also called her mom, who apparently told her to stay put and that I was being cruel. I told Emma she needed to pack some things and stay somewhere else for a while. She refused. Said she wasn't going anywhere, that this was her home too, that we'd work through this. But I was done. Just told her I wanted her gone by morning and went to bed. I didn't sleep that night. Emma crashed on the couch, still crying on and off. I stayed in the bedroom with the door locked. Tara and Jen started blowing up my phone with messages about how I can't just kick someone out and that Emma lives here too, except she doesn't. Not legally. Like I said, my name is the only one on the lease. We've talked about adding her but never got around to it. It's been 3 days now. Emma is still here, refusing to leave. Her friends are calling me controlling and abusive for kicking her out of her own home. My phone is full of messages from people who were at the party, some supporting me, some saying I overreacted to a drunk joke. Ben hasn't said a word to anyone as far as I know. I don't know what to do next. I don't want to physically remove her or call the cops or anything like that, but she won't have a real conversation with me. Every time I try to talk, it turns into her crying and saying I'm throwing away 3 years over nothing. Am I the asshole here? Did I completely overreact? Or was my gut right? Edit to answer the most common questions. Yes, Ben literally took the ring. He just kind of stood there holding it in shock. I have no idea if he still has it. No, Emma never explicitly said anything about having feelings for Ben, but the backup plan and keep options thing combined with how much time they've been spending together. I don't know. Update 1. First, thank you to everyone who told me to document everything. I took that seriously. After I posted, I went through and screenshot every text message, every Facebook post, every email. I wrote down a timeline of events from the party. I even started keeping a simple log of what's been happening each day. Good thing I did, because shit escalated fast. The day after my first post, Emma's friends ramped up the pressure campaign. I'm talking constant texts, calls at all hours, even showing up at my door unannounced. Tara came by Saturday afternoon demanding to be let in so she could talk sense into me. When I said no through the door, she started yelling in the hallway about how I was holding Emma hostage. My neighbor 2 doors down actually came out and asked if everything was okay. Sunday morning, I changed my password on the building's access app. Our building has this system where you can give temporary access codes to guests, and Emma had been using my account to buzz in her friends. Cut that off. Also set up a camera in the hallway outside my door. Did some research first to make sure it was legal. It is, as long as it's only pointing at my door and the public hallway. Emma noticed the changes immediately. She completely freaked out, saying I was imprisoning her and that she'd call the police. I stayed calm and told her she was welcome to call them, and that I'd be happy to show them the lease agreement showing she's not a legal tenant. She didn't call, but her mom did call me. That was fun. Emma's mom has always been kind of intense, but this conversation was something else. Lots of yelling about how I was treating her daughter like garbage. How could I embarrass them like this? Did I know how much money they'd spent on their part of the wedding planning, etc.? I mostly just listened, and then said that our relationship was over. I needed Emma to make arrangements to move out. Her mom said Emma wasn't going anywhere and that I'd have to legally evict her if I wanted her gone. That worried me, not gonna lie. I didn't know if she was right about that or not, so I did what several of you suggested and consulted with a lawyer. Found a guy who does a free initial consultation for tenant disputes. He explained that because Emma isn't on the lease and hasn't been paying rent, she's legally considered a guest, not a tenant. He said in my state, I could give her a written notice that she was no longer welcome and that continuing to stay would be trespassing. He said most people leave once they realize the legal system isn't on their side. I took his advice. I wrote up a simple notice, nothing aggressive, just stating that our relationship was over. She had no legal right to stay, and I was giving her 48 hours to collect her essential belongings and leave, after which I would pursue legal remedies including involving law enforcement. I had a copy for her and kept a copy for myself with the date on it. When I gave it to Emma that evening, she completely lost it. Called me every name in the book, said I was being vindictive and cruel, that she couldn't believe I'd resort to lawyers over a joke. But I also saw something else in her face, fear. She realized I was serious and that she didn't actually have a leg to stand on legally. That's where I'm at now. I packed up Emma's stuff, or at least started to. She's got a lot here. I've been making a detailed list of everything as I pack it, taking photos. Some of it is tricky because there are gifts from my family mixed in with her stuff. Those I'm keeping, but documenting that they were gifts to her from my family, so there's no confusion later. Emma has been watching me pack her stuff with this look of disbelief, like she can't believe this is actually happening. She keeps trying to start conversations about us and how we can fix this. I keep redirecting to logistics. When can her mother or her friends come get her stuff? Where is she planning to stay, etc. She won't engage with the practical stuff, just keeps crying and saying I'm being cruel. The weirdest part is this office chair. It's a nice one, probably worth $400 new. I bought it on my credit card about 6 months ago when Emma started working from home more. She said she'd pay me back half. She never did. Now she's claiming that it's hers and that I can't keep it. I have the credit card statement showing I bought it, but she's insisting it was a gift. It's stupid to fight over a chair, but at this point it's about principle. When she finally understood I wasn't going to change my mind, she called her mom again. I guess her mom talked to someone too, because the next morning Emma said she'd stay with her parents until I came to my senses. Said she'd be back for the rest of her stuff once I calmed down. I didn't argue. I just wanted her out of my apartment. She left that afternoon. The apartment felt strange without her there, quieter, emptier, but also like I could breathe again. Oh, and Ben still hasn't reached out. Not that I expected him to or wanted him to, but it's notable. Radio silence from him while Emma's friends are going nuclear. I assume Ben still has the ring or gave it back to Emma or threw it in a lake. Don't care. It was $80 and it's not about the ring. The thing that's messing with my head is that Emma seems genuinely confused about why I'm so done. Like she really believes the backup plan thing was just a joke and that I'm ending 3 years over nothing. But it wasn't nothing to me. It was confirmation of what I'd been feeling, that I was only the safe choice while she figured out if something better might come along. I know I'm making the right call. It just sucks that it has to be this messy. Tomorrow, I'm going to try again to arrange a time for her to take her stuff. I'm going to ask Frank if he can be present as a neutral third party. Some of you suggested having the police there for a civil standby. Is that what it's called? But that feels extreme. Though at this point I don't know. I'll update again when there's something new to report. Update 2. So things are finally starting to resolve, though not in the way I expected. After my last post, I tried multiple times to arrange for Emma to move out. Every time, it turned into either her showing up with her entire friend group or her refusing to take anything and insisting we talk first. I was getting nowhere. Then things got worse before they got better. Last Tuesday, I came home from work to find a notice on my door from the building management. Apparently someone, and I'm sure you can guess who, filed a noise complaint saying I'd been yelling and having loud parties at all hours. This was complete bullshit. I've been keeping to myself, barely having anyone over. Frank called me and said he didn't believe the complaint but that he had to follow up on it. Then Wednesday, I got an email forwarded from my landlord. An anonymous complaint to the HOA claiming there was suspicious activity in my unit, people coming and going at odd hours, possible illegal activity. Again, complete fabrication. My landlord knows me. We've had a good relationship for 3 years, so he called me directly to ask what was going on. I explained the breakup situation and he was understanding, but he said he might need to do a routine inspection just to cover himself legally. I was furious. They were trying to get me kicked out of my own apartment by creating a paper trail of complaints. I decided to send an email to that lawyer I'd consulted with, included all my documentation, and asked what my options were. He got back to me within a few hours and said the harassment was getting into territory where I could send a cease and desist letter, and that I should absolutely get the police involved for the property exchange. Thursday evening, Emma and Tara showed up at my door again. This time I didn't even open it, just called the non-emergency police line and asked if they could send someone to facilitate a civil standby. 2 officers showed up about 40 minutes later. That's when I finally opened the door. I explained the situation, showed them my lease, showed them my documentation of the harassment. They asked Emma and Tara to step back. Then they asked me what I wanted to happen. I said I had Emma's belongings packed and ready to go, that I wanted her to take them and leave, and that I wanted it done with witnesses so there couldn't be any accusations later. The officers were totally professional about it. They essentially told Emma that she needed to collect her things and leave the property since she wasn't on the lease and I was asking her to leave. You should have seen Tara's face. She started going off about tenants' rights and illegal eviction, and one of the officers very calmly explained that Emma didn't have tenants' rights as a guest and that this was exactly the right way to handle it. Shut her right down. Emma was crying, kept asking if we could talk privately first, and I just said no. Not trying to be cruel, but every time we talked, it went nowhere. The officer stood there while Emma went through the boxes I'd packed. She verified everything was there, well, almost everything. The office chair. She tried to take it and I said no. We went back and forth, and finally one of the officers asked if I could prove purchase. I showed him the credit card statement on my phone. He told Emma the chair stays unless she could prove she paid for it or it was a gift. She couldn't, so the chair stayed. This sounds petty as hell, I know, but after everything she put me through, I wasn't giving in on that stupid chair. It took about 2 hours to get everything out. Emma had to make multiple trips to her car with Tara helping her. The officers stayed the whole time. Before they left, I asked them if they could note the date and time in their system that this happened, and they said they'd put it in their report. After everyone left, I just sat in my empty apartment feeling this weird mix of relief and sadness. 3 years gone. The place felt hollow without her stuff everywhere, but also lighter, like I could finally breathe. I thought that was the end of it. I was wrong. Friday morning, I woke up to find that Emma had posted on Facebook, not naming me directly but making it very clear who she was talking about. About how she'd been thrown out on the street by her controlling ex who couldn't handle a joke and had destroyed 3 years over his own insecurity. She painted herself as this victim who'd been blindsided and abused. The post got a lot of traction. Her friends were commenting in support. People who didn't even know me were calling me trash. A few of my friends defended me in the comments, which turned into arguments. It was a mess. But here's where the lawyer came in clutch. Monday morning, I got a cease and desist letter drafted and sent via email and certified mail to Emma. It was professionally worded but basically said, "Stop making false public statements about me. Stop contacting me directly or through third parties. Stop filing false complaints with the building HOA or face potential legal action for harassment and defamation." The effect was immediate. Within 24 hours, the Facebook post was deleted. That was 2 days ago. Since then, nothing. No contact from anyone in Emma's orbit. The apartment is mine again. I changed the locks officially through the building management. My landlord confirmed the HOA thing is closed. Frank said there haven't been any more complaints. It's just quiet. I found out through a mutual friend that Ben basically noped out of the whole situation once things got legal. Apparently he wanted nothing to do with any of it once there were police reports and lawyers involved. Told Emma he couldn't be her backup plan after all, I guess. Can't say I feel bad about that. Final update. I wasn't sure if I'd do a final update, but enough people have checked in asking how I'm doing that I figured I'd close the loop. Life is different, quieter mostly. The apartment still feels too big sometimes, but I'm getting used to it. I rearranged furniture, got rid of some stuff that reminded me too much of Emma. Small things, but they help. About a week after the Facebook post incident, Emma's mom called me. Much calmer this time, almost apologetic. Said they'd talked to a lawyer too and realized they'd been getting bad advice from Emma's friends. She asked if we could arrange one final pickup for a few items Emma forgot. I said yes, but only if it was scheduled in advance, only during daylight hours, and only if Frank from the building could be present. She agreed. This is where the chair saga concludes. Emma's mom showed up at my apartment without Emma, thank God. She had Venmo payment ready for $200 for the chair. Said she just wanted to end things peacefully and could they please take the chair so Emma would stop talking about it. I almost said no just out of spite. But then I thought, why am I fighting over a chair? It's not worth the ongoing drama anymore. So I accepted the payment. Frank came up to witness the exchange, and her mom took the chair. She apologized for how things got out of hand and said she hoped I'd be happy. It was civil. Weird, but civil. As for Emma and that whole situation, I heard through the grapevine that she's still living with her parents. The friend group apparently had a major falling out. From what I heard, once Emma realized she'd actually lost the relationship, she started publicly blaming Tara for ruining her life with that joke. Posted something on an Instagram story about how some friends can't keep their mouths shut when they're drunk, and how she'd lost everything because someone thought they were being funny. Tara didn't take that well, felt like she was being made a scapegoat when Emma was the one who actually said the "everyone should have options" line. Some of their mutual friends took Tara's side, pointing out that Tara didn't force Emma to admit to having a backup plan. Others stayed loyal to Emma. The whole group basically imploded over who was really at fault. Ben completely ghosted the whole situation, but I heard the full story from a mutual friend. Apparently, after the party, Emma actually tried to lean on Ben for emotional support. Ben went along with it at first, responded to a few texts, said the right supportive things. But then when the legal stuff started happening, he completely panicked. He called Emma and told her he couldn't be involved anymore, that he never signed up for all this crazy shit, and that she needed to handle her own breakup. Emma did not take that well. From what I heard, she absolutely lost it on him, told him he was a coward, that he'd been leading her on for months, and now he was abandoning her when she needed him most. There was apparently a pretty brutal phone call where she accused him of using her for attention while never actually being serious about being her backup. Ben's response was basically, "I never asked to be your backup. That was something you and your friends decided. I never said I wanted to date you." That blindsided Emma completely. She'd been so convinced that Ben was waiting in the wings, ready to step up, that she never actually confirmed he felt that way. The whole backup plan was more in her head and Tara's big mouth than in reality. After that conversation, Ben blocked her on everything. But here's something I didn't expect. I found the ring. Remember that vintage ring I gave to Ben? He actually mailed it back to me about 3 weeks ago. No note, just the ring in a box with tracking. I looked at it for a while, thinking about what it represented. All those plans we'd made, the life we'd talked about building together, the someday we'll upgrade it promise. But mostly I just saw that moment at the party, handing it to Ben, the look on everyone's faces, Emma saying everyone should have options. I threw it away. Just tossed it in the trash with the rest of the garbage. Some people might think that's wasteful or that I should have sold it, but I didn't want the money and I didn't want to keep it. I wanted it gone. It felt right somehow, a final, definitive end to that chapter. No keeping it just in case. No turning it into some meaningful gesture. Just done. I'm not dating yet. Not even close to ready. But I'm not opposed to it eventually. I think I'm just going to focus on myself for a while, figure out what I actually want in a partner versus what I thought I wanted. My landlord mentioned he's got another year on the lease and asked if I wanted to renew or if I needed to break it early given everything. I'm going to renew. I like the place. I like the neighborhood. I like that it's mine. Emma doesn't get to take that from me. That's it from me. I'm closing this chapter and moving on. Thanks for being part of the journey, Reddit.